Folks, another video. This one's not about politics at all. It's about a little bit something different, as I promised to do in the past. I was getting a little too way out of control on politics, and well, the significance of this one is about 5 or 6 months ago, I became interested in precious metals. I became a silver bug, so to speak. Now, right off the bat, I'm going to throw this disclaimer or warning or whatever that for all the experts on YouTube that are silver experts and precious metal experts, well, they're probably going to be laughing their ass off at my amateur little, beginners video here. And they can do that. You can laugh all you want. I don't care. All right. I don't pretend to have a PhD in economics. I'm not Paul Krugman, okay? I understand that. But I do know something about money and what real money is by what it's backed up with. So clearly you can see what I have: a $1 bill, $20 bill. There's $1.50 in quarters, various coins over there. Here's some cool coins I got on Amazon recently. A couple of old Morgan dollars. Oops, yeah, throw that anywhere. And they're in pretty good shape. They come in these pretty rugged plastic containers. These containers are like one-timers. Once they're like in there, you got to destroy the container to get it out. But why would you want to do that? So it keeps it safe, so it can't get damaged or whatever. Okay, so now, what's the significance? Significance is, let me first start off by saying that, as I've stated in many previous videos, the current national debt, I don't know the exact dollar because it goes up like $6 million every second or something ridiculous and completely out of control. And I mean that literally. You can find that out yourself if you want to Google it. Currently, we're at like $17 trillion in debt that we owe mostly China and various other countries. And you can also find out what $1 trillion looks like. It's very easy. Just go Google, what does $1 trillion look like? It'll show a small figure of a guy standing next to a big pallet of money, about 4 foot square, of $100 bills. And there's like a football field of those pallets of $100 bills. That's what about $1 trillion would be. Now picture 17 of those stacked up on top of each other. That's how bad we are in debt. It's not a question of if it's going to happen, it's a question of when it's going to happen, meaning that bubble is going to burst. I don't know when, but it's going to happen. So within the past year, there's a lot of thought I've given it that it's maybe time to start protecting your money, protecting your wealth, thinking of other ways to, instead of relying on stuff like this, Federal Reserve note, $1. There was a time, the Federal Reserve note was backed by silver, but not so much anymore. Now it's only backed by debt. And the Federal Reserve just keeps printing more money and printing more money and printing more money. The reason we can do that is because we are the world's reserve currency. That's why we have to give aid to all these countries that, burn our flag and kill our troops and kill as many of Americans as they possibly can. Pakistan comes to mind, $2 billion a year, and the country would blow us up in a second if they could. So, I'm sorry, I'm interjecting politics again in my little silver video here. But let's stay on target, shall we? So what I'm getting at is, again, thinking about ways to protect your wealth. And what do I mean by when I say that? Well, let's suppose you have, I don't have nowhere near that money, but suppose somebody, the average guy, has $20,000 cash in the bank. You can go get all the green Federal Reserve notes you want. If there's true economic collapse and we're no longer the world's reserve currency, your paper money all of a sudden becomes worthless overnight. In God we trust, well, right down the toilet. There's two things that this will serve a purpose for. If you run out of toilet paper or you want to start your campfires with it, you pick. So, what's the alternative? Precious metals. That's what I'm a firm believer in that now. I'm completely convinced that precious metals is the way to go. For example, silver, as well as gold, well, it's valuable all over the world. It doesn't matter what country you're dealing with or what region you're dealing with. Silver and gold, no matter what this becomes a worthless piece of paper that doesn't mean anything. It's about as worthless as this package of an eyedropper that, a piece of crap. That doesn't mean anything. Now, silver, on the other hand, now you're still retaining some of your value. And I'll give you an example of that. Right now, I check all the time, every day. Silver right now is $20.97 an ounce. Here's 6 quarters right here, $1.50. Face value, $1.50. These are all, let's see if you can see the date. It's probably sold 1944. Any quarter, or any coin, I should say, that's 1964 or prior. I shouldn't say any coin. I should say mostly just dimes and quarters. Nickels is a different story. I don't mess with nickels because they're only 35% silver during the 1940-ish kind of period. So only deal in quarters, dimes. Is a Franklin half dollar. Is a Kennedy half dollar. Same thing. They're all 90% silver. The other 10% is copper. Until 1965, where silver started to become a little bit more valuable, and they decided to make quarters out of what they're made out of today, which is a lot of mostly copper, a little bit of nickel, I think the molybdenum and something else. There's no metal value at all, no matter what happens to the U.S. currency. There's no metal value at all in quarters, modern quarters, I should say. Now, why 6 quarters, do you ask, possibly? Well, because these silver quarters, they're not pure silver. Like I said, they're only 90% silver. It takes 6 of these quarters, these pre-64 quarters, to equal and to obtain and have an actual 1 troy ounce of silver. So with these 6 quarters, I have a 1 troy ounce of silver. That's now going for $20.97 an ounce. So, kind of incredible to think that face value, this 6 quarters, $1.50, is worth more than that $20 bill. It's something to think about. Now, it's not much, it's only 97 cents more valuable, but still, the difference in the face value is what really intrigues me. That $1.50 is worth more than $20. I mean, who would think that, But that's just how it goes. That's just how it is now. Silver is dirt cheap. Dirt cheap. I make pretty good money doing construction, and I've been planning on buying major shipments of precious metals that will be buried somewhere and not be in my house. So if the IRS or the government turns on the people, like, the days of World War II and all that, when they confiscated everyone's wealth and everyone's money, well, you'll never find it. It's not my house. I don't have it. If it's not in your house, and they can't confiscate it because they can't find it to begin with. Period. End of story. Okay, that's another video. Sorry, I went off on tangent again. So let's stick to what I was saying here. That silver is the way to go, man. One of the ways to go. I mean, you could diversify. Depends on how much money you got. You could buy some gold. Gold is $1,300 something an ounce. Right now, I'm just starting out, so I'm starting out with silver. Later on, when I, get a little bit more money saved up, I'll buy some gold, maybe some palladium, and even some platinum, which is the most expensive. That's like $1,500 an ounce. That's a lot. 1 ounce of platinum goes for $1,500. It's like insane. Another interesting point, and why I personally believe, I could be dead wrong. I mean, like I said, I'm not a genius. By no means am I some know-it-all. This is just a guess, a gut reaction, a hunch. Because one fact remains is that China, who we owe most of our debt to, has been ignoring those, have been dumping U.S. bonds for a long time now, and they won't buy any more junk bonds from the United States. They've been trying to unload them. And they've also, in the process of doing that, been trying to buy all the world's reserve, above ground's reserve of gold, as much as they can get their hands on. Because they're smart. They make garbage products and pieces of crap. There's a toaster right there that doesn't work anymore. I'm going to throw it out the window. Made in China. I don't know why I said that, but alright. Another country that's been also doing something similar is India. Has been buying as much of the above ground reserves of silver as much as they can. Why? Because they know something. They know that there's going to be not just an economic collapse in this country, there's going to be a worldwide economic collapse. It happened in Spain, it happened in Greece. Greece was the worst. The Greek government, excuse me, the Greek government actually seized the banks. The commandeered banks seized everyone's money after they froze their bank accounts. Nobody can go to the bank and get their money out. Oh, that could never happen here, some people might say. Well, you think not? You think wealth and greed doesn't affect our politicians over here? Think again and use your heads. Never mind Dancing with the Stars and start thinking about stuff like this, for Christ's sake. So again, put your money in. I mean, I read this one book where this guy recommends that no matter how much money you have, whether you have $50,000 cash in the bank or $50 in the bank, at least 10 to 15% of what you own should be in precious metals. I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. And I think silver coins are the way to go. Why? Because they're easily recognizable. They were minted by the United States government, so the chances of them being counterfeit or phony are very slim. And also, I mean, suppose there is a serious economic collapse in this country. You may have, shopkeepers and store owners that still have some products left, if they haven't been looted and robbed and stolen, that is. And all of a sudden they might say, we are no longer accepting any U.S. currency at all. That is garbage. If you're going to come at me with that, you better turn right out the door and get the hell out of here. But if you got some silver, we'll talk to you. Now, these silver quarters, on average, are worth about $3 a piece. What's a loaf of bread cost when you stop and think about it? I buy 100% whole wheat. I mean, white Wonder bread is probably $1 something. The loaf, that's terrible for you. I don't buy that crap. But what I buy would probably cost me about 2 of those. Man. So there's, going by what they're worth, silver content, $3 a piece. There's 3, there's 6. I just bought a loaf of bread for face value of what looks like 50 cents. That's what I'm getting at. That's what can happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but there's just something to think about. That's just the way I think things are possibly going to head. I mean, $17 trillion in debt. Jesus Christ almighty. Does anybody have any idea that the fact we're never going to be able to pay that back? Even Dr. Ben Carson said, even to count to $17 trillion would take you 570,000 years. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's how ridiculous it is. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. That is why I'm a firm believer in, okay, a couple of funds I got a benefit from my mom when she passed on and this and that. I'm seriously considering on get out of those as much as you can. Keep those to still function with and still operate with, obviously. But man, if you got like $30,000 or $50,000 in cash, you're crazy to keep all that in Federal Reserve notes. That's not backed by anything but debt. Debt. In fact, get them out of here. Pieces of crap. I don't even want to see them anymore. Silver's the way to go. Silver, gold, platinum, palladium, any precious metals. And something else to think about. At the rate that India, their country's been buying all the silver they can get their hands on, well, the very thing I'm making this video out about with is made out of a lot of silver. There's silver in cell phones, TVs, iPads, iPods, MP3 players, anything electronic has got silver in it. If for some insane reason silver does skyrocket, that means the cost of all your electronic gadgets that everyone's freaking zombified with, those gadgets and the cost of those things are going to go through the roof. So just something to think about. And you don't have to be like some big shot, Warren Buffet to buy a lot of precious metals. I mean, this is just junk coins, man. Don't be fooled by the word junk either. It means junk meaning it's not worth anything, even though this one, let's see if we can zoom in on that. 1944. That's old. That might be an antique. Well, it's faded. It's a piece of crap. It's not even in average condition. Maybe if it's in uncirculated mint condition, yeah, now you're talking. A coin dealer might talk to you about more than $3. But this is all I'm getting at, man. The word junk means it's not worth anything from a coin collector's point of view, but the silver content value. All right? And another reason I think it's important to get small increments of silver. I've seen guys on YouTube buying 100-ounce bars. I mean, are you crazy? 100-ounce bar of silver? What if after the collapse happens, and you need some food or some water or maybe some gasoline or whatever you need to feed you and your family and take care of things. Some guy's like, okay, I got a bunch of clothes and some food and 4 gallons of water, potable water that I'll trade for you for 6 ounces of silver. But all you have is a 100-ounce bar. What are you going to do? Take a hacksaw and hack off what you think might be 6 ounces? How do you know that? You don't. But you can know that if you have small increments. You know that 6 of these bad boys, like I said before, is 1 troy ounce. That's why I think one of the safest ways and a cool way to start saving and stacking silver is just with old coins, man. Particularly quarters, half dollars, and dimes. Never mind nickels. Stay away from nickels. They're a different beast. And it depends on all the weight and how much silver the guy's asking for what you need and versus what he's asking for. It's a good bartering chip. Well, there's a lot of good things in a bartering chips. It could be cigarettes, it could be alcohol, it could be anything. But retaining your purchasing power, I think, is increased immensely by investing in precious metals. So I don't have a lot. I mean, I'm not Bill Gates. I don't have $8 billion to blow on, stuff. But here's my small collection that I just started out with. So I don't know. I gave anybody some good advice or just some information. Maybe something to think about. Just think about. And maybe made you think a different way about what money really is and how those pieces of shit down there. There may be a time where those are not worth anything at all. But if you have some silver, you retain your purchasing power. And you might still be able to be in the game. Alright? Again, a little bit of food for thought. Alright, folks. That's it. Bye.